Well, hello, welcome to Talking About Speedway, and Con Migro alongside me. Happy Australia Day.
Same to you, Graham, and it's good to be with you. We've had a bit of a break from Speedway because most of the action's been happening on the eastern seaboard of Australia, although in country WA it has still been going very, very strong.
Absolutely. Con, plenty to talk about on today's show. It's a full jam-packed show, but if I can, and we get away from Speedway just for a moment, if I can come across to this shot here and congratulate Maddie Inglis, the sister of James Inglis, who's racing in the East Coast at the present time, on her progress in the Australian Tennis Open. What a great effort.
Yes, she's into the fourth round now, and that's fantastic to see. Of course, the Japanese girl did disqualify herself because she had an injury, but all the best to young Maddie. She's gone further than any Australian's done for a lot of years, and we're looking forward to her bringing home the bacon. She's got a tough road ahead because, as the cream always raises to the top at the end of any of these series, as we all know.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Wonderful stuff. And, well, we're in the congratulatory mode. Perth Scorchers, a hot property at the Perth Stadium. Well done to the Scorchers.
Well, at Burswood Stadium, it was fantastic to see, Optus Stadium, I should say. It was wonderful to see the fact that they won it again. They're 6 times in the last 10 or so years. And again, I repeat, it's not only the best sporting ground or football ground or cricket ground in Australia, but it's also we're the strongest in cricket overall. And sometimes we think that our players do get left out a little bit of all the on the pecking order as far as going into some of the big events.
So we've got all the non-Speedway stuff out of the road, Con. Australia Day, the Scorchers, Maddie Inglis, it's all happening right here on Talking About Speedway. But getting on to the real stuff, and whilst there hasn't been racing in the West Coast, let's just again recap on the Maddington Toyota Sprintcar Series. Dane Kingshot still the leader. And if I just go now to the point situation, there we are. Dane Kingshot, 1874 from Callum and Caden, and all of the gang in the top 5 there.
Yep, a great series, and we thank Maddington Toyota for their wonderful support of Speedway, and in particular Sprint Cars. And we tip our hat to young Dane and wish him all the best with the Australian title coming up next weekend.
And now the Boy and Upseller Sprint Car Driver of the Year, just to recap again the spirit of Speedway. So there's the points, Con. After 13 rounds, Dane, Caden and Callum, no change in the order, but it just is, as I say, a recap on the Maddington Toyota Sprint Car Series and the Boy and Upseller Sprint Car Driver of the Year.
Correct.
So, Con, a big Speedway all around the country, on the East Coast in particular. And let's go and recap some of that. Tolma Speedway Night 1, we had a look at this last week because that was after, or before we recorded, I should say. So Tolma Speedway Night 1, Carson Macedo, he came good towards the end of his Australian campaign, didn't he?
Yes, he did. And that just shows you how tough it's been, really, because when you bring 15 of some of the best drivers on the planet, it's very difficult to say who's got to and who's not. So the fact that some of those guys walk around disappointed they didn't win themselves, but young Carmen came good at the end, and that's great to have seen.
So night 2 now, Con, Tolma Speedway, Lockie McHugh. We spoke about him again last week, a great competitor.
Yes, a fine competitor, and one of the guys to keep your eye on for the Australian title.
And this man here, Cole Macedo, Premier Speedway Night 3, came to grief in the Classic, but he's also had a great campaign, probably one of the most successful Americans when you think about it.
Yeah, a very good driver and driving on another West Australian car, so it's very good to see.
And now moving on, the King's Challenge at Borderline Speedway, Lockie McHugh again. He's had a good campaign over there. Ryan Timms and Kerry Madsen in the WA car again.
Yeah, I feel happy for Kerry doing very well, and he's driving for Sean Curran from Gold Transport. Sean has been a long-time supporter of Speedway, and it's good to see him getting some results.
If we go now, Con, to the President's Cup, Avalon Raceway, James McFadden, Carson Macedo again, Kerry Madsen again.
Yeah, 3 West Australian cars and 3 foreigners, you could say, driving. One originally from Northern Territory, now living in Victoria. 1 American, 1 Australian, also now living in Knoxville in America. So a good sprinkling of where they came from.
All of those races have been fairly hard fought, Con, and won by people that you may expect to win. The big fields of cars, but they don't. That doesn't mean anything really, because the top 10 or 15 cars are the ones where you want to concentrate. It's the other ones, and I don't mean that critically, but the other ones are also rans in a lot of ways and just want to compete in a big show, don't they?
Well, that's right. There's been in excess of 70 cars at most of the shows we've been talking about. And as you know, there are some people that just love to go there and just to be part of it. It's like it happens at the Isle of Man TT. They might have a couple of hundred riders nominate, but probably 3/4 of them just go there just to be feeling a part of the event.
Well, that could be said for the Grand Annual Classic at Premier Speedway as well. Let's just have a look, night one. There we are there, Brock Hallett. And our Brock's been over here and performed. He was in red-hot form 3 or 4 seasons ago and to some degree dropped off the planet. But in this campaign, he's been right up at the pointy end for the whole series.
Yes, and with the national title coming next week at that same venue, you can bet your bottom dollar that he'll be a hard nut to crack.
And whilst it's fairly difficult to see, Con, on that slide, that they accumulate points night one and then night two, and then, the top 8 or the 6, I think it is, lock themselves into the start line on the feature race for the final. But whilst the points are fairly hard to see there, it does give you a bit of an idea of the number of cars that are competing.
Yeah, and again, I repeat the fact that over half that field are just happy to be there, but the other half, if any one of those guys win this national title, you can say, well, they deserved it because they've been at the pointy end of the stick in most of their events, wherever they race.
Now, moving on then, the night 2, James McFadden was victorious there. Just makes you wonder, isn't it? James has been up and down all year, really. He hasn't been the dominant force that he was this time last year.
No, he hasn't. But there, once again, it's now the big events are coming up. It's like the Scorchers cricket you were talking about a while ago. They came good at the beginning. They lost a couple of earlier events in the year, and now they're the crowned Australian champions. And now we have the same with McFadden, and he's got a very successful team with Sheldon Brady putting together the most professional team in Australian Speedway without any contradiction.
Well, now, moving on to the big one, the Grand Annual Classic at Premier Speedway, the final. Aaron Rutzel, the American, in the WA Luch Monty Motorsport car there.
Yeah, well, I'm so happy for Luch because poor old Luch, a couple of stages during our speed weekend down at Bunbury, he felt like slashing his wrist, although
he had a torrid time.
Aaron came good at Bunbury. I always knew all along this guy. I mean, believe you me, injury-free when he goes into America this year, he's going to be one of the men knocking right on the door, particularly of Rico Abreu, because Rico Abreu's Australian campaign was very, very ordinary, and it's not being critical of him, the fact that it was ordinary, and the fact this young man kept battling away, and they worked hard, and they've got the car going, and Luch has probably got a new spring in his foot once again.
Well, let's just go back to those results. Lockie McHugh, Brock Hallett, Dane Kingshot, Jock Goodyear and Caden Manners, 2 West Australians in there, but a few other West Australian cars.
Yes, and of course Dane moving up the track, he knows what it's like to win an Australian title, although it was a speed car, and we all know how good he is. Caden Manners has won an Australian 360 title in sprint cars, so there's no reason why he couldn't improve his position by another 5 or 6 and take the number 1 plate.
Con, it's interesting when you look at that field in the final. There are a couple of guys there, Brock Hallett and Lockie McHugh, of course. Jock Goodyear had featured in some of the results in those lead-up races, but Aaron Rutzel came from nowhere. You didn't give him a chance, really, to take that thing off.
Well, they've been battling. I mean, we've all known all along that the Monte car was a winning car, but for somehow along the line, the crew chief, they just couldn't get to grips with the car. Well, they've saved the best till last, and now they've won the Grand Annual Classic. And, well, let's see another week. What will that bring? It could be that number 17 goes to a number 1.
Well, who knows? And that's the good thing about
Well, it depends
Speedway.
who drives it in the Australian title, because, as you know, Americans are not allowed to drive in our Australian title.
Yeah.
It's the only category in Speedway that they don't allow visitors in. So whoever drives that car in the final at Premier Speedway next weekend could easily have a race-winning car.
Yes, I haven't heard anything along those lines, but
they might take you or me over.
Well, could do.
15-ounce
could
clubs
do,
between the two
could
of us.
do. But it's pretty hard for anyone to jump into a car at that level, isn't it? At that level of competition and do well. So, watch this space. I guess we'll be able to report all the news, because by the time we do our next show, Con, the Australian title will be run and won. So look out there. But
hey, Graham, just on the right hand side there, you can see Lucci with his bottle of water. And I can see, good on you, Aaron. We've had a win at last. And that's a beautiful photo. I hope he gets it and blows it up and puts it on his wall at home.
Well, Luch has been in the sprint car business for a long, long time. Yes. And I think, Con, just having spoken about that, I think that's his Monty Motorsports' sixth classic title. And it's Aaron's second, so they've done well at the top, haven't they? But as I say, in reality, when you look at all of those lead-up events, Aaron and the Monty Motorsport car really wasn't figuring in the top of the tree there, but all of a sudden, bang, he's number one. And
Graham, does it also, again, demonstrate how good Dane Kingshott was really over Speed Week? To win Speed Week, he was consistent all the time, and there you've got some drivers like Aaron Ritzel there, you've got those sorts of drivers in the field, and that man kept his head the whole time, and at the end of all that series, he was the winner.
And if I can also say, we're pro-West Australians, Con, obviously,
I didn't notice that.
And rightly so. But Dane Kingshott and Caden Manders are the first two Western Australians to finish in the top 10 since Ryan Farrell did it in 2010.
Well, and Ryan Farrell, in my opinion, should have gone on and won those, and he should have won Australian titles, but, wouldas, couldas and shouldas. Manders and Kingshott both know what it's like to win Australian titles, so don't anyone ever discount them when the final comes up next weekend.
But going back to that slide, Lockie McHugh, he's been an Australian champion. Brock Hallett, he's been right up the top of the tree. He knows what it's like to win these big events. Dane Kingshott's right in there. Jock Goodyear, a former Australian champion. Caden Manders, he's one of the finds of this season, certainly from a WA perspective. So, and of course, we've still got James McFadden that finished outside of that top six there, but I think he was finishing in 10th, in fact. Yeah. But about 10 cars failed to finish in DNF, so it was a bit of carnage.
Oh, it's a tough track. It's a very small track.
Probably a difficult one to judge who might be a potential winner for the Australian title. But all of those guys that are on that sheet there now, Con, all potential. And as I say, Lockie McHugh, Brock Hallett, Jock Goodyear, they've been there or thereabouts for this whole week-long speedway in the East Coast.
Yes, and I'm looking at Goodyear. I think he's one of the finest drivers I've seen in the last 20 years, and I think that young guy's got a huge future. He's won an Australian title. He won an Australian Formula 500 title. So he really knows what it's all about to win. So there, the stage is being set well and truly for the big one next week.
Yes, indeed. Plenty more speedway to come. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back after this.
At Maddington Toyota, we're all about great deals, value, quality and service. Head to our website for quality new, demo and pre-owned vehicles with videos so you can find your perfect car. We can organise the details by phone and email and deliver the car right to you. Check out the entire Toyota range, plus a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles, all backed by our real commitment to great service. Maddington Toyota, great deals and great service. Oh, what a feeling.
Well, welcome back to talking about Speedway, Con. A big week all around in Speedway, as I say, but that Grand Annual Classic goes down as a classic, and I think it sets the scene for the Australian Championship next weekend.
Yes, and a good presentation. I think they might have pinched a few ideas from what Gavin and the team did at the Motorplex with the presentation of the Warrnambool Classic, and good on them, because it's I've always said to everyone in the time I was running the show now, Gavin, I said to these guys, we are leaders, not followers, and the fact that we are the ones that set the bar, and I'm glad that now Warrnambool with their presentation did bring the helicopter. It was good to see that, and now they've increased the prize money from 2028. It'll be that's another 2 years basically, but there's going to be $110,000 to win. So that event's now getting up into the reams of where it should have been and deserves to be.
Yeah, okay. Now, Con, moving on, I wanted to just have a quick look at this, and whilst it's American stuff, not Australian, the left-hand slide is the High Limit series and the right-hand is the Outlaws. And when you look at comparisons of drivers in each of the camps, the quality of both outfits, I think, when you look at them and balance them out, are fairly equal.
Yeah, they are. And as what I was saying too, during the time that the guys were here for our High Limit show, it just goes to prove that we had drives from both camps, Outlaws and High Limit, and that's a thing that a lot of Americans don't see because often they'll be racing in different parts of America on the same night, so consequently you don't often see them clash. But by gee, we saw them clash in West Australia at the Perth Motorplex and the Bunbury City Speedway.
I saw an interview with Tanner Holmes, I think it was, and he was explaining why drivers get signed up and sign themselves up to these organisations, either Outlaws or High Limit, and the fact is that they can guarantee themselves of prize money. They know what prize money's up front. They've got tow money and other things mixed in with it. So it gives them some certainty and surety for their season, and it makes good sense when you think about it.
Yes, it does, and rightly so, you know, Graham, when you look at the sport of Speedway, it has been a huge sport throughout America and in Australia, and we're just probably getting to the stage now that bigger prize money's coming into it. Now we're getting better cars. We know our car count at the Motorplex goes to prove that, and if you want to say that the contribution West Australia's made to the national sprint car scene over the last 50 years is probably well in front of any other state in Australia.
Well, certainly, you know, the point you make about the quality of our cars, when they compete on the East Coast, they're second to none. So you're quite right, Con. And I guess all that we've been talking about, excluding the American stuff we just had a look at, who will be crowned Australia #1 next weekend, Con?
Well, it's going to be a tough gig to play. James McFadden is in red-hot form. He's got the car, he's got the crew chief, and he's got the owner in Sheldon. They're a very, very slick combination, and McFadden knows what it's all about. He knows what it's like to win, and he can take it on the nose if he doesn't. But by gee, I'll tell you what, this track where he now lives in that part of Australia, you can bet your bottom dollar that he'll be giving it 110%.
But, Con, the form of a lot of other drivers now, including former Australian champions, including the West Australians who are really performing well on the East Coast as well as home here at the Perth Motorplex. It's really wide open, isn't it?
It is wide open, and probably when you look at the event this year, it's probably the most equal or natural field that's been for a long, long time. The fact that there is no one really standing out as a real heavy hitter. And of course, we like to think that our West Australian driver will win it, but we're pretty sure that a West Australian car might.
Well, who knows, Con? We're in with the show.
That's good English, wasn't it?
Yeah, we're in with the show. So, and, you know, as I say, you know, it's anyone's race, but there are several guys that have been pecking all week long, you know, the Brock Halletts, the Lockie McHughes, Jock Goodyear, including James McFadden, and then you take Dane Kingshot over there, finishes fourth in the Classic. I mean, boy, oh boy, it's going to be great, isn't it?
Yeah.
Coming back home here to Western Australia, the Keen Quip, I should say, LSA, round 8, I think it is, the King of the Hill at Geraldton Speedway, Cody Nash again. What a season he's having.
Well, 2 in a row now, and the young man's on a roll. He's going for a hat-trick for the next time he races. Nathan Davis, good to see young Nate get up there, and Joel Ettridge, who's a guy that dabbles his foot in open class as well. A good win for Cody, and all looks good for his future in Speedway because he's carrying the Nash name with a lot of pride.
Well, indeed. And when you see Joel Ettridge there in third, you've got to be good to beat Joel Ettridge. He's in fine form as well, isn't he?
Well, we've always known that Nash has been a winner. I mean, we saw him in a Speedcar, never quite had the success he's had in a 360 sprint car, but by gee, he's making up for it now. And if he goes to the open class next year, he'll give some of those big stars a big pat on the back, I suppose, and push him on a bit.
Oh, dear, I should say. Staying here in Western Australia, Con, down at Narrogin now, Kyle Sayer, he's always been a top runner, hasn't he? WA Production Sedan champion.
Yes, he's a very consistent compared to my old hometown. I started my schooling at Narrogin back when Adam was a Lance Corporal in the Boy Scouts, but wow, what a win him, and the weather was perfect on the weekend. A little bit of rain coming from up the north, as we know, and I don't know if Geraldton got him, but I know the cricket got some rain, but Kyle certainly carried home WA title. I think it's his second or third he's won.
Oh, he's been excellent in that class of speedway. Another championship con, this time across the New South Wales Speedcar Championship. Caden Brown popped his head up once more. He's had a great season, hasn't he?
Yes, I think that's his second or third New South Wales title. He's won the South Australian title. So he's had some great racing.
National championship.
And he won in the national championship as well and truly. So Caden from Saunderson and Buckley. So a good field of cars. And I'm glad the speed cars are coming back to prominence once again.
Yes, indeed. Well, Con, we should remember and mention our sports radio, 91.3 Sport FM. That's coming up as well. 1 o'clock on Wednesday, so we'll bring you all the latest news as it comes to hand. And similarly, let me just turn
to our Sport FM.
I'll do that again, Con.
Yeah.
I'll need to do that.
Go.
And similarly, Con, our Spirit of Speedway, SEN 6:21 a.m, Spirit of the Southwest, Friday afternoons at 2 p.m.
Yes, and we're getting a lot of rave reviews from the southern region of WA, from the fans that listen to it. So thank you to all those people who say g'day to us. And of course, we've got some other big shows in the TV world as well.
Well, one of those, Con, is Let's Talk Sprint Cars, live on the big screen at the Perth Motorplex. That's Saturday afternoons prior to racing at each Motorplex event. So we look forward to bringing that to you the next time we race there, which will be the 6th and 7th, Con, for the Barbagallo show.
Yes, and looking forward to that, because I think you'll find that a lot of interstate drivers will probably head across the desert now and join us, because this race also carries some very serious prize money, like $44,077 to win. So it's a pretty good event.
Well, there we are, the Barbagallo Australian Mr. Sprint Car Nationals. Barbagallo Australian Mr. Sprint Car Nationals indeed, and so it should be, Con.
Yeah.
He's been a great performer in Western Australia over a lot of years, and still to this day has an involvement in Speedway.
An ornament to the sport, and a guy that, when you can really say, whoever started sprint car racing in Australia, we all know that Bob Trossel was the main man in America, and if ever a guy advanced sprint cars in Australia, Barbagallo would have to be the number one man, because he was the one that put his money where his mouth is and bought in the new looking sprint cars that we now all enjoy today.
And Con, just reflecting on some of those days, weren't they good? I mean, we go back to the super modified days in particular with Alf Barbagallo, but when you had Ray Geneve and
Tony
Bill Sutherland and, all of those guys, it was so good.
It was a wonderful era. And it's a funny, like they say, these are the good old days today. Who knows? Because we all talk about the good old days, but, Speedway has always been giving.
Yes, indeed. And for a long time, Con, when you go back to the motorcycle days and sidecars, I mean, that was what Speedway was brought up with, wasn't it? Solos and sidecars, and then we had speed cars, and then it developed from there until we've got the huge spectacle we've got right now with sprint cars and the like. It's just so good.
Yes, and I'd like to send a cheer out to Ty Woofy. I spoke to him during the week. Ty's desperately trying to get himself fit for going back to race in Poland. He doesn't know exactly what his future is, but he had some horrific injuries, we all know, which put him out for nearly a season. And now he's like a prize fighter. He's out there so determined to get back, and all I can do is wish him all the very, very best for his campaign for 2026 in Europe.
When you think, Con, about this time last year, he was on death's door. I mean, he was a walking man dead, really. He was in such bad condition after that horrific crash, and he's got himself back to this stage, and now he's as fit as a Mallee bull even now. He's just got to get some laps and miles on his bike, but that comes easy to him.
I'd like to have his willpower. I think that he is a classic lesson of any sportsman or woman that wants to go and talk to someone that's got determination. Plus, in a bucket load, go and talk to young Ty.
Oh, indeed. Con, that brings us to the end of our show. Unfortunately, we've covered a bit of ground all over the country, but always enjoy bringing the show to the viewers, and we hope you enjoyed it.
Thanks, Graeme. Good to be with you.
And thanks for your company, Con. We'll do it again next week. Bye for now.
At Maddington Toyota, we're all about great deals, value, quality and service. Head to our website for quality new, demo and pre-owned vehicles with videos so you can find your perfect car. We can organise the details by phone and email and deliver the car right to you. Check out the entire Toyota range, plus a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles, all backed by our real commitment to great service. Maddington Toyota, great deals and great service. Oh, what a feeling.